Senator Jawahir.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy President. Permit me just a little bit, a little leeway to join my voice with that of my Senate colleagues. As you would notice, the government side is wearing a touch of pink. I also noticed that the female senator on the opposition is also wearing pink. And it's a critical point for us where we have seen that many of our women, some who were very dear to me, have not survived incidences of breast cancer. And as Senator Tusser Shally mentioned that some of them are even battling. It's an urgent call for our women, however young you are, the moment that you are going through puberty stages, we realize that breast cancer develops even at a very early age. And we really want to encourage our women and girls to get their mammograms, to get themselves tested, because early detection can truly save your life or the life of many other persons. I know that the government of St. Lucia has put various initiatives forward, has passed many policies, and has allocated resources to strengthening how we tackle some of these diseases like breast cancer. Mr. President, my intervention will be, albeit very short, is one that I really want to raise as it relates to the government's position now to borrow to facilitate strengthening strengthening the fire service. And I know that leader of government business had already led the way in speaking on behalf of women and my interventions as it relates to gender equality. I noted that in the Prime Minister's presentation, when he spoke on this motion, there's a particular part of the funds that will go towards strengthening gender equality in the fire service. And the reason why I want to harbor on this just for a moment is because I remember a particular example of one of my best friends. She had a situation where during COVID, her fiance, the father of her daughter, really needed an ambulance to be transported to the hospital. And when she made the call, that many of St. Lucians have made that call and being told that there's insufficient support, she's not able to get a member of the fire service to come to her home. The gentleman being maybe about 3 times her size, she had to walk down about 3 flights of stairs, holding his arm over her shoulder to try to get him to the hospital. And of course she had to drive him herself, him having COVID. He did not make it. I'm not saying this is any fault of anyone, but some of these situations we see, Mr. President, has really pushed for our government to provide more resources to these areas. And yes, our government has provided resources to the police force. We know that this tackles crime. We know that this is a measure to be able to strengthen our citizen safety. Yes, the government has passed the health and security levy. We know that this is to strengthen initiatives by the government to be able to tackle citizen safety and security. But the health and security levy will also go to strengthening services in the fire service, in addition to this money that is being borrowed. And so why I brought up COVID, because even with COVID, we saw that many of our women who lost their jobs due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they were displaced. They were finding themselves in areas that their work has now become undervalued. And we see the struggles that our women face as it relates to tackling climate change and climate resilience. Now, this does not limit to how it impacts the fire service and their response to disasters and the vulnerability that our country will face, especially as we are in direct line of a possible hurricane. But a major component, Mr. Deputy President, is component 5 that the Prime Minister referred to of institutional strengthening, and it says that provision of consultancy services for one, development of a gender policy and action plan for the Ministry of Home Affairs, Justice and National Security, Mental Health and Psychosocial Support Program. Now, Mr. President, I find it very interesting, and I want to applaud the efforts of the government as they continue to apply a gender lens to the legislations that are being passed. We know that our women, a very vulnerable population, a very vulnerable part of our population, don't have equal access to support. And we know that the fire service does have about 21 female fire service members. Of course, we know the ability of a woman to have that emotional intelligence, that ability to care for more persons. When we see that resources are being allocated and directing towards the women and strengthening their ability, we see that by extension the population, the citizenry will benefit. So I just wanted to make that short intervention, that whilst I see that there are several areas that will impact strengthening of the fire service, I had to stand up and mention that I noted that part of this intervention will support our female fire service members. And of course, we have female police officers, and the work that they do. As a government, we want to say thank you. And this, as our leader of government business and the senator before me have said, this is just part of our interventions to support the fire service. I cannot go any further and stress that, whilst the previous administration did not see the need to do that, this government is doing it. I think that now that it is being done, we can only see more in the future and more that is to come from this Philip GP administration.